I've just realised that I am a maverick, Maverick, which basically means someone who doesn't conform to the belief systems that one is brought up in. In some ways, I'm a renegade. Jesus was a renegade. However, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I'm not a rebellion. I'm not an activist. I'm just simply, my disposition is one of a maverick. Right from an early age, I wanted to know the truth. Whether it has anything to do with my star sign, I don't know. Sagittarians are moved to find the truth. From a very young age, I wanted to be more like Jesus. I didn't like myself. I considered myself to be a bad person. I would kneel next to my bed at night, praying to God or to Jesus, please make me a good person. I believed I was the fault in my parents' lives. I was the thorn in their side. I was the problem, the black sheep. Listening to Joseph Campbell and about the myths of life, the myths of religions, the myths of cultures, one can understand that everything in the head is a myth. It's not the truth. Whatever's going on in your head is not the truth. It seems to be the truth because it's very personal. The present moment is the truth. Not your present moment, but the present moment. Both microcosm and macrocosm. The whole universe is in the grain of that sand. Or should I say, in that grain of sand. Your thoughts are myths in the making. They're there to console. They're there because you want to be fulfilled. You want to be filled. And what people are filled with is falsehoods, belief systems, religions. You're born to believe that you need to belong somewhere. To give you an identity. You're programmed to believe that you cannot be like Jesus. You cannot be enlightened. You cannot be God. Just conditions, that's all they are, conditions. You can have 10 diamonds on this table here, and each one's got a price. You've got 10 houses next to each other, and they've all got an individual price. And then people will say, well, that's priceless, whether it's the crown jewels or a photograph of your whatever, which you consider to be priceless, because it cannot be. Remade. It's all a farce. It's all a laugh. It's all a joke. It's all the play. It's the Leela. I encourage you to listen to these episodes where Joseph Campbell has been interviewed regarding myths. He spent his whole life understanding mythology. The history of the universe is steeped in myths. Nothing is as it seems. This is why Jesus said, you've got to see differently. You've got eyes, but you don't see. So he's implying, you've got to see differently. You've got ears, but you don't hear, implying that you've got to see, you've got to hear differently. And that comes about from being reborn. As he has said, you need to be reborn. There has to be a courageous movement in you to step away from all that you believe in, to realize the truth. It's not a case of knowing the truth, it's a case of realizing the truth. We all know, and we all had to be told by our parents, that fire is hot. Do not touch, you will burn yourself. That is knowledge. But knowledge is no good on its own without realization. We had to touch the fire in order to realize it. I'm not saying we need to have an electric shock in order to realize that the knowledge about electricity is correct. It will kill you, but we're not going to want to touch electricity in order to prove that it will kill me, kill one. Okay, there's certain bits of knowledge that we don't need to enact. And that's where trust comes in, and faith. But having faith in mythology, that it's correct, is living a life of darkness, living a life of I know best because my religion says so. Or because my culture says so. The wise man stands alone. The wise man knows that he or she is alone. It doesn't mean one lives in isolation, not at all. It's not a lonely existence. Systems are not liberating. Those systems are necessary. Everyone is self-possessed. Everyone is selfish. Everything is geared to fulfill oneself. A true life lived is being a servant, serving one another. But again, however, the true life lived is a case of outgrowing. We've got to keep outgrowing childish and adolescent nonsense that we tend to dramatize as adults. Childishness is about depending on others to make you happy, like a child depending on a parent. And an adolescent is always in rebellion mood. I know best. I don't need you. Mentality. There's this toing and froing between those two reactions to life. The more mature you become, the less reactive you are to life. The more embracing you are of life. The more accepting you are of life. The more you see clearly the laws of conditional existence and the law of God. And there's only one law of God, truly, is to become God, to live as love. As love. It's a change of disposition. Your disposition changes. Being born again in the same body-mind. And once there, you realize there's no history. It's all a myth. The content of the head is imaginary. And that's what's dictating your life, dictating your destiny, identifying with the content of your head. One who is at peace, the mind is extremely peaceful. and then the body is at rest. For it's the body that relies on the content or the lack of content in the head. The restfulness of the body-mind. If you've got a disturbed mind, then the body is disturbed. To function from a peaceful mind is unselfish. Everyone is leisure enlightened, going around like headless chickens. Everyone's living like a clenched fist, firing ammunition all the time and hoping to get some kind of result that's going to be satisfying. But when you really look at life, really look at life, there's nothing there that's going to satisfy you. There's always going to be something that you're not happy about. The answer is simply to be liberated from all that nonsense, to be enlightened. But you have to have a heart desire to be free of all the childish and adolescent nonsense that is being dramatized right now. Listen to Joseph Campbell and be re-educated. Have your brain washed clean, for it's too late. You'll end up on your deathbed realizing that you were not living a life of love and happiness and joy. Realize that now, that all you are about is self-fulfillment, self-gain, self-pleasurizing, stimulation, consolation, the seeking for something that you are already. Only the enlightened man, the one who has been reborn, can live a life of true satisfaction. True stillness, true peace, true intimacy, true love, already happy, already content. I'll post the link to Joseph Campbell's mythology discussions. Thank you for listening.